On behalf of Professor Sam Babatende, I'll be presenting outline of management theory. And in this chapter, students are expected to know the definition of management, the functions of management, vision, mission, goals and objectives, the policy, the three levels of management, and the types of managers. And at the end of this model, students are supposed to understand different management theories, understand management functions, and to be able to differentiate between vision, mission, goals, and objectives. The building of the Great Wall of China, the Egyptian pyramids, the famous irrigation in Egypt and Mesopotamia, and the Tower of Babel, and others are obvious manifestations of the existence of management before the last 90 years. However, the theory and practice of management started in the last 90 years. This was due to the recognition that material world requires to be properly organized and managed. Conscious efforts towards management as a discipline started only about 90 years ago, following the advent of Industrial Revolution in Europe and America. Industrial Revolution provided a platform in which for the first time people were brought together from diverse grounds to work under the same umbrella. This in turn necessitated a need for management of human and material resources. Organizations are collections of people who work together and coordinate their actions to achieve organizational goals. A goal is a defined future outcome that an organization strives to achieve. Resources are assets such as people, machineries, raw materials. Managers are people responsible for supervising the use of organizational resource to achieve its goal. Management, therefore, is the planning, organizing, leading, and controlling of resources to achieve organizational goals effectively and efficiently. The job of management is to help an organization make the best use of its resources to achieve organizational goals. This chapter examines what management is all about. It also throws light on what it takes to be a successful manager, what most managers do, and the differences among managers. This topic applies to both past and present. At the end of this chapter, you should be able to define management, describe the functions of management, explain what a policy is, identify and explain the three levels of management and the types of managers. The word management is used pervasively by many people that the meaning appears to be mutilated. It is not uncommon to find that everyone in the streets claims to be a manager. Essentially, management is achieving desired results through people. It is an activity or behavior directed to a specific purpose. Thus, the task of management is to secure and utilize planning, organizing, directing, and coordinating. Management may also be defined as an activity which performs certain functions in order to obtain the effective acquisition, allocation, and utilization of human efforts, as well as physical resources in order to accomplish some goals. Also, management can be the act of getting things done through people. Management is a decision-making process. Management is the process of utilizing the resources of the organization to accomplish designated objectives. Thus, management is the achievement of organizational objectives through people, machines, material, and money. More collaboratively, management is the process of planning, organizing, staffing, leading, and controlling the work of organizational members, and using all other organizational resources to achieve stated organizational goals in an effective and efficient manner. However, it is important to note that management has many definitions and charges with changes as the environment of organization. Management is defined in terms of the type of work that managers do. In general, the organized pursuit of an objective by individuals or group of persons is managed activity. In this sense, management is the direction of human behavior towards a particular goal or objective. Business management then takes into account the activities which determine the goals or objectives of business. It designs the means by which the goals can be reached and executes the program which actually fulfill the objectives. Now, who is a manager? Managers are those people who get things done through other people and make decisions among others. The term manager can be classified into two: by the management level in the organization, or by the range of organizational activities for which they are responsible. The roles of manager. We have goal setting. Once the business is defined, managers must establish a set of primary goals to which the organization is committed. Developing these goals give the organization a sense of direction or purpose. In most organizations, articulating major goals is the job of the CEO, although other managers have input into the process. Establishing a goal is one of the phases of the planning process. Managers should avoid situations whereby their own priorities are placed first before organizational goals. 2. Planning. Planning can be defined as the process of setting goals or targets for the organization and developing strategies or approaches to accomplish them. Without plans, managers cannot know how to organize people and resources, and they cannot lead them with confidence. Planning is generally in two forms. It can be at the corporate level or lower levels, and it may be of long-term or short-term. Strategic planning is concerned with long-term planning, while operational planning is concerned with short-term planning. Essentials of planning include forecasting, setting objectives and priorities, the planning horizon, devoting strategies, establishing programs, preparing budgets, setting procedure, and deciding on policies. 3. Organizing. Organizing is a process that managers use to establish a structure of working relationship that allows organizational members to work together to achieve organizational goals. Organizing involves grouping people into departments, laying out the lines of authority and responsibility between different individuals and groups, and decide how best to coordinate organizational resources, particularly human resources. Staffing. Staffing is the procedure of supplying the organization with the right people in the right position at the right time. It includes recruitment, hiring the best qualified persons, compensating and promoting them, appraising their performance, and then developing their skills so that they can do their job effectively and efficiently. Leading or directing. In leading, managers articulate a clear vision for organizational members to follow, and they energize and enable organizational members so that they understand the path, the plan in achieving organizational goals. Leadership depends on the use of power, influence, vision, persuasion, and communication skills to coordinate the behavior of individuals and groups so that their activities and efforts are in harmony, and encourage employees to perform commitments among organizational members. Directing is therefore supervising and guiding the employees so that plans are completed and goals are met. Leading involves the ability of the leader to use different forms of power to influence followers or subordinate behavior in a number of ways to perform essential tasks. Controlling. This is the process of measuring and correcting the activities of subordinates to ensure that plans are completed and goals are achieved. Control is implemented by compromising actual results to planned results and correcting any significant differences. Different types of control includes inventory control, quality control, and credit control. Motivation. Managers have to motivate subordinates to get good results from them. Although caring for them, building self-confidence in them, delegating work and authority to them, career development, and rewarding them through promotion, salary increments, bonuses, praise, and equally those who do not meet up with expectation by withholding rewards and by termination. The following should be avoided as they can lead to hostility and antagonism. Don't criticize your subordinates in front of others. Never allow your subordinates to think you are only advancing your own interest. Don't play favoritism. Don't be insensitive to your subordinates' problems. Don't educate them with your personal view, and keep your relationship with them professional. Innovation. According to Docker, managing a business or an organization cannot be administrative or policy making alone. It is a creative rather than an adaptive task. Innovation involves developing new and better ways of doing things, and a real leader or manager is always an innovator. Communication. The leader establishes effective communication networks in the organization in order to ensure that the objectives are understood and plans are digested. Information should flow freely upwards, laterally, and downwards. Ineffective communication can collapse an organization. When a leader is poor in communication, there is bound to be cost on the organization as a result of repeated operations. A leader must take seriously of importance feedback from his subordinates. Representation. The leader's job includes practicing good public relationship techniques and presenting his organization in dealing with a number of outside groups, that is the stakeholders, the government, the employees, the suppliers, the customers, the directors, managers, and the public. Conflict resolution. This involves the leader resolving conflicts with the organization through analytical thinking, either conflicts between her or her subordinates or among the subordinates. Team building. Effective managers also encourage team building by setting up project teams and committees to accomplish organizational goals in an effective and efficient manner. Reporting. Important management functions the progress made on the achievement of the organizational goals, which should be constantly reported to the local government council top or the top executives or the board of directors of the organization. Budgeting. A budget is a comprehensive and coordinated plan expressed in financial terms or the operation and resources of a government or an organization for some specific period in the future. Delegation. Major functions of a leader is to delegate the work for which he is responsible to his subordinates and to monitor and advise them on the progress made. The degree to which a leader is able to delegate work is a measure of his or her success. Time management. This is a crucial skill for a leader. Time is one of the resources of any organization. What is a vision? Visions are aspirations expressed as strategic intent. Aspirations which are expressed as strategic intent should lead to tangible results. Otherwise, they will just be castles in the air. Those results are the realization of the vision of an organization or an individual. It is what ultimately the firm or a person would like to become. The nature of vision. Vision is like a dream. This is the reason why it is difficult to say what vision an organization has unless it is stated explicitly. Sometimes it is not even evident to the management, who usually thinks of the vision. By nature, it could be hazy and vague, just like the dream that one experienced the previous night and is not able to recall perfectly in broad daylight. Yet it is a powerful motivator to action. Often, it is from the actions that visions could be derived. Vision has been defined in several ways. Carter in 1990 defined it as a description of something, an organization, a corporate culture, a business, a technology, an activity in the future. L. Namaki in 1992 considered it as a mental perception of the kind of environment an individual or an organization aspires to create within a broad time horizon and the underlying conditions for the actualization of this perception. Miller and Dest in 1996 viewed it simply as the category of intentions that are broad, all-inclusive and forward-thinking. The common strand, though evident in these definitions and several others available in strategic management literature, relates to a vision being future aspirations that lead to an inspiration to be the best in one's field of activity. The benefits of having a vision. Patrick and Neubauer in 1993 point out the several benefits accruing to an organization having a vision. Here is what they say. 1. Good visions are inspiring and achieving. 2. Visions represent a step function and a jump ahead so that the company knows what it is to be. 3. Good visions help in the creation of a common identity and a shared sense of purpose. 4. Good visions are competitive, original, and unique. They make sense in the marketplace as they are practical. 5. Good vision fosters risk-taking and experimentation. 6. Good visions represent integrity. They are truly genuine and can be used to the benefit of the people. While the essence of vision is a forward-looking view of what an organization wishes to become, mission therefore is what an organization is and why it exists. Several years ago, Peter Drucker raised important philosophical questions related to business. What is business? What will it be? And what it should be? These three questions, though simply worded, are in reality the most fundamental questions that any organization can put to itself. The answers are based on an analysis of the underlying need of the society that our organization needs to fulfill. This satisfaction of that need is then the business of the organization. Understanding mission. Organizations relate their existence to satisfying a particular need of the society. They do this in terms of their mission. Mission, therefore, is a statement which defines the role that an organization plays in the society. It refers to the particular need of the society. For example, its information needs. A book publisher and a magazine editor are both engaged in satisfying the information needs of the society, but they do it through different means. A book publisher may aim at producing excellent reading material, while a magazine editor may strive to present news analysis in a balanced and unbiased manner. Both have different objectives, but an identical mission. Defining mission. A mission was earlier considered as the scope of the business activities a firm pursues. The definition of mission has generally expanded to represent a concept that embodies the purpose of existence of an organization. Thompson in 1997 defined mission as the essential purpose of the organization, concerning particularly why it is in existence, the nature of the business it is in, and the customers it seeks to serve and satisfy. Hunger and Wheeling in 1999 says that mission is the purpose or reason for the organization's existence. At present, there is not much difference or opinion about the definition of mission. Yet, one finds instances of organizations confusing mission with vision or objectives. How are mission statements formulated and communicated? Most organizations derive their mission statements from a particular set of tasks they are called upon to perform in the light of their individual, national, or global priorities. Characteristics of a mission statement. Organizations legitimize themselves by performing some function that is valued by the society. A mission statement defines the basic reason for the existence of the organization. Such a statement reflects the corporate philosophy, identity, character, and image of an organization. It may be defined explicitly or it could be deduced from the management action, decision, or the chief executive's press statement when explicitly defined. When explicitly defined, it provides enlightenment to the insiders and outsiders about what the organization stands for. In order to be effective, a mission statement should possess the following 7 characteristics. 1. It should be feasible. A mission should always aim high, but it should not be an impossible statement. It should be realistic and achievable. Its followers must find it to be credible, but feasible depends on the resources available to work towards that mission. 2. It should be precise. A mission statement should not be as narrow as to restrict the organization's activity, nor should it be too broad to make itself meaningless. Manufacturing bicycles is a narrow mission, since it severely limits the organization's activities, while mobility business is too broad a term and it does not define the reasonable contour within which an organization could operate. An organization attains its mission through the human resources, producing products and services that meet the quality, performance, and price aspirations of our customers. While doing so, they maintain the highest standard of ethics and societal responsibilities. 3. It should be clear. A mission should be clear enough to lead to action. It should not be a high-sounding set of platitudes meant for publicity purposes. 4. It should be motivating. A mission statement should be motivating for members of the organization and of the society, and they feel it worthwhile working for such an organization. A bank which lays great emphasis on customer services is likely to motivate its employees to serve its customers well and to attract clients. 5. It should indicate the major components of a strategy. A mission statement, along with the organizational purpose, should indicate the major components of the strategy to be adopted. 6. It should indicate how objectives are to be accomplished. Besides indicating the broad strategies to be adopted, a mission statement should also provide clues regarding the manner in which the objectives are to be accomplished. Goals and objectives. Goals denote what an organization hopes to accomplish in a future period of time. They represent the future state or outcome of efforts put in now. A broad category of financial and non-financial issues are addressed by the goals that a firm sets. Objectives are the end that state specifically how the goals should be achieved. They are concrete and specific in contrast to goals that are generalized. In this manner, objectives make the goal operational. While goals may be qualitative, objectives tend to be quantitative in specification. This way, they are measurable and comparable. Roles of objectives. Objectives play an important role in an organization's management. We could identify the various facets of such a role as described below. Objectives define the organization's relationship with its environment. By stating its objectives, an organization commits itself to what it has to achieve for its employees, customers, and the society at large. Objectives help an organization pursue its vision and mission. By defining the long-term position that an organization wishes to attain and the short-term targets to be achieved, objectives help an organization in pursuing its vision and mission. Objectives provide the basis for strategic decision-making. By directing the attention of strategies to those areas where strategic decisions need to be taken, objectives tend to achieve desirable standard of behavior, and in this manner helps coordinate strategic decision-making. Objectives provide the standard for performance appraisal. By stating targets to be achieved in a given period of time and the measures to be adopted to achieve them, objectives lay down the standard against which organization as well as individual performance can be judged. In the absence of objectives, an organization will have no clear and definite basis for evaluating its performance. Managers who set objectives for themselves and their organizations are most likely to achieve them than those who don't specify their performance targets. The importance of the role that objectives play in strategic management could be aptly summed up in a truism: if one does not know where he has to go, any path will take him there. Characteristics of objectives. Objectives as measures of organizational behavior and performance should possess certain desirable characteristics in order to be effective. Given below are 7 of such characteristics. 1. Objectives should be understandable. Because objectives play an important role in strategic management and are put to use in a variety of ways, they should be understandable by those who have to achieve them. A chief executive who says that something ought to be done to set things right is not likely to be understood by his managers. Subsequently, no action will be taken, or even an wrong action might be taken. 2. Objectives should be concrete and specific. To say that our company plans to achieve a certain percent increase in its sales is better than stating that our company seeks to increase its sales. The first statement implies a concrete and specific objective and is more likely to lead and motivate the managers. Objectives should be related to a time frame. If the first statement given above is restated as our company plans to increase its sales by 12% by the end of 2 years, it enhances the specificity of objectives. If objectives are related to a time frame, the managers know the duration within which they have to be achieved. 4. Objectives should be measurable and controllable. Many organizations perceive themselves as companies which are attractive to work for. If measures like the number and quality of job applications received, average enrollment and staff turnover per year could be devised, it would be possible to measure and control the achievement of these objectives with respect to comparable companies in a particular industry or in general. 5. Objectives should be challenging. Objectives that are too high or too low are both demotivating and therefore should be set as challenging but not unrealistic. 6. Different objectives should correlate with each other. Organizations set many objectives in different areas. If objectives are set in one area, disregarding the other areas, such an action is likely to lead to problems. A classic dilemma in organizations and a source of interdepartment conflicts is setting sales and production objectives. Marketing departments typically insist on a wider variety of products to cater to a variety of market segments, while production departments generally prefers to have greater product uniformity in order to have economies of scale. Obviously, trade-offs are required to be made so that different objectives correlate with each other, which are mutually supportive and result in synergetic advantage. This is especially true for organizations which are organized on a profit-center basis. 7. Objectives should be set within constraints. There are many constraints internally as well as externally which have to be considered during objective setting. For example, resource availability is an internal constraint which affects objective setting. Different objectives compete for the scarce resources, and trade-offs are necessary for optimum resource utilization. Organizations face many internal constraints like legal requirements, consumer activism, and environmental protection. All these limit the organization's ability to set and achieve objectives. A mission statement is a broad declaration of an organization's overriding purpose. This statement is intended to identify an organization's products and customers, as well as to distinguish the organization in some ways from its competitors. The second step is formulating strategy. Managers analyze the organization's current situation and then convince and develop the strategy necessary to attain the organization's missions and goals. The third step is implementing strategy. Managers decide how to allocate the resources and responsibilities required to implement those strategies between people and groups within the organization. Once you have defined your mission statement, the next step is to define the organization's basic philosophy. Such a statement will help explain to your employees and associates how you would like to see the organization operate. Are you a risk taker, or would you prefer to build your business slowly from a solid base? How will you relate to customers, suppliers, and competitors? What type of community involvement do you plan for your business? For example, participating in recycling and volunteering activities. These questions ought to help you to explain and define your organization's basic philosophy. The next step is to set clear goals to guide and maintain the business on a path consistent with its mission. The list below provides specific functions for business goals. 1. Justify or legitimize the organization's activity. 2. Focus attention and set constraints for members' behavior. 3. Identify the nature of the organization and elicit commitments. 4. Reduce uncertainty by clarifying what the organization is pursuing. 5. Help an organization to learn and adapt by showing discrepancies between goals and actual process and actual progress, providing feedback. 6. Serve as the standard of assessment for organization members. 7. Provide a rationale for organization design. Accomplishing a goal requires establishing and achieving several and specific objectives, which must include being clear, concise, and attainable, to be measurable, to have a target date for completion, to include responsibility for taking action, to be arranged according to priority. Efficiency and effectiveness. Effectiveness focus on quality, which means doing the right thing. It implies the achievement of objectives, while efficiency is the foundation of survival. Efficiency cost minimization and waste is kept at a minimum. The functions of management. The functions of management include 1. Planning, organizing, staffing, directing, coordinating. Planning. Planning involves a known objective and proposing a course of action that will achieve the objective. In a business, the planner has to be exposed to several courses of actions. He will then select the best course of action, which seems most likely to bring success. Since planning involves prediction and many factors that influence businesses are outside the control of individual firms, there is always an element of risk in planning. For example, a business plan has to assure stability and at the same time make prediction concerning major inputs such as raw materials and labor. Sound planning can reduce risks considerably, but cannot eliminate it altogether. Organizing. Organizing for business means simply the arrangement of men, jobs, materials, and machines into the best possible relationship for the attainment of business goals. It involves the selection of materials, the assignment of specific tasks to a specific individual, and machines, and the delegation of rights among those of authority who would be responsible for the operation of the organization. In organizing, there should be a pattern, establishing a chain of command and an orderly allocation of responsibility. Without this, chaos will follow. Since business is a dynamic process, a business organization must be constantly reviewed. The basic challenges of management are the simplification of organizational structure and the attainment of a higher level of coordination and efficiency among the various parts of the organization. Staffing involves recruitment, selection, and placement of employees. It also concerns training of workers, adequate supervision of the activities, and the maintenance of sound human relations. Management initially determines the number and time of personnel required to carry out company plans. Since business is made up of people, the success of business depends on the quality of people operating it. Other functions under staffing include compensation, maintenance, and separation. Compensation is the adequate and equitable reward of personnel for their contribution. Maintenance of willingness is greatly affected by management interaction with employees. The physical condition of the employees should be maintained. His physical condition can be harmed through disease, stress and strain, as well as through accidents. It is important for management to be concerned with the general health, both physical and mental, of its employees for economic and humanitarian reasons. Separation. Since the first activity in staffing is to secure the employee, it is logical that the last should be separation and return of that person to the society. Management is responsible for meeting certain requirements of due process in separation, as well as assuring that the returned citizen is in a good shape as soon as possible. Directing. Management also has the function of providing direction for all subordinate level of workers and for accepting responsibility for the work they perform. Effective supervision enhances effective and efficient operation. Workers look up to management for direction, and in the absence of direction for management, workers would turn in other directions for instructions. That is, the union, the fellow workers, or their own personal preferences, possibly introducing informal objectives which might be at odds with those that are set down by the management. Coordination. Keith and Gubeleni in 1978 defined coordination as the bringing together of a number of separate elements to perform an organized and coherent unit. Hart in 1970 defines it as the process of maintaining harmony and compatibility among the objectives and plans of the various segments of an organization. Coordination is essential at every levels of organization, as well as within the entire organization. Persons, production, machines, and units within the organization have to be brought together for the purpose of achieving laid down goals. Successful coordination demands good channel of communication from one level of management to another. From this communication, the various departments and units within the organization will have considerable knowledge about the objectives and problems of the others. Most firms achieve this communication through weekly meetings that involves all managers and supervisors from all units. Controlling. This function is concerned with seeing that operations within the firm are going on according to plan. In other words, it is a means of making sure that the actual performance does not deviate from the plan or standard. Control essentially involves the following tasks. 1. Setting standards for performance. 2. Assessing the actual performance with the standards. 3. Finding reasons for deviation, if any. 4. Taking corrective measures if there was a deviation. Management premise. The relevance of management is to make decisions for achieving individual, group, and organizational objectives. The following summarize the various ways in which management can be seen and appreciated. 1. Management is multidimensional and dynamic. Multidimensional have consequences in several areas, especially in human, economic, social, and political affairs. Dynamic in this sense because the environment in which its decisions are made are always in a state change. 2. Refers to a body of executives. 3. Management is social and complex. 4. Management is universal. 5. Management is interdisciplinary. 6. Management is viewed as a function. 7. Management is also viewed as a process. 8. Management is referred to as a profession. Different meanings have been attributed to the word management. Peter Drucker in 1973 defines management as a discipline, but management is also people. Every achievement of management is the achievement of a manager, and likewise every failure. Management as an art of getting things done through people. Management as a science, according to Frederick E. Taylor, quoted by Nwachukwu in 1980, defines specific management and uses the method of science in making decisions and evaluating its consequences, since attempts through systematic procedures are made. The universality of management functions. This means that one manager's job performs basically the same function, irrespective of the nature or location of the job. Put simply, managers of textiles mill in Kaduna performs the same function as managers of oil mills in Kano or Gusau. Also, managers at all levels of organization, from foreman to chairman of the board, are concerned for the same function. As a result of the universal nature of management function, a good manager can manage various types of activities. It is on record that during the Second Republic, Umaru Dikko was manager in charge of transport and aviation, the Presidential Task Force on Rice and others. Principle of management. Henry Fayol, who was well known for his 14 principles of management, which can be regarded as general rules or guide for managers and management. These principles are: 1. Division of work, applicable to all kinds of work. For people to socialize or specialize, for people to specialize, the more they concentrate on the same matters and require ability and accuracy, which increases their output. Authority and responsibility. Authority is necessary to carry out responsibility. Responsibility here also means function. Discipline. It is seen as respect for agreements, aimed at achieving obedience, compliance, and apparent respect, preconditions for discipline, which is good leadership at all levels. Unity of command. Employees should receive orders from one superior only. Unity of direction. This assumes that each group of activities with the same objectives must have one head and one plan. Subordination of individual to general interest. Organization's priorities must take precedence over personal interest. Remuneration. Method of payment should be fair and give maximum satisfaction to employees. Centralization. This refers to concentration or dispersion of authority. Scalar chain. This refers to hierarchy of officials from the highest to the lowest rank. Order. This refers to principle of arrangement, whether people or material. Equity. This refers to kindness and justice on part of manager, which should be the basis of illicit loyalty from subordinates. Fairness is the key word. Stability of tenure. Unnecessary turnover is both the cause and effect of bad management. Spirit the corps. In unity, there is strength. Heath and Gobelin in 1978 defined principles as a fundamental truth, a basic law, the ultimate basis or causes. Principle originates from theories. A new principle always develops from theories that have been developed and refined to the point that it always applies. Some well-known principles developed through years of observation are represented below. Division of work. It is now a fact that when a job is broken down into several segments so that the workers are assigned to narrow areas of activity, there is bound to be a development of maximum skill or specialization in a short time. Authority commensurates with responsibility. This means that when a manager is given a responsibility, he should also be given an equal amount of authority to enable him perform his job. Take for example, the manager in charge of cleaners in this department. He has no authority to approve the procurement of cleaning materials, and most often no authority over the cleaners themselves. Here there is no balance between authority and responsibility. Unity of command. This means that no worker should have more than one boss. In other words, a worker should receive orders from only his foreman, not the supervisor, the manager, or the managing director. If an employee is responsible to more than one manager, his loyalty is bound to be divided. Subordination of individual goals. The goal of workers, stockholders, and even managers should be subordinate to the goals of the firm. This means that the goals of the firm should also be considered first. Authority and responsibility. Authority is the right to give orders and expect to see those obeyed it. According to Batty in 1975, if a work machine foreman instructs an operator to drill holes in a component, then he expects to see the work done. Every manager needs authority to be able to function properly. This authority is always delegated to him from above by a superior. Responsibility, on the other hand, is similar to accountability. A manager is directly responsible for the results of any orders given. While people are accountable upward to superiors, managers are responsible for the actions of their subordinates. Sources of authority. In any given society or in any free society, the ultimate source of authority in business is the owner, group proprietors, partners, or stockholders. The right of private property gives the owner the right to command. Such owners of private property dictate how the property is going to be used. In communist countries, authority belongs and stays with the state. The owners or executives can, however, delegate authority to certain people, for let's say the manager or department head. By this, the executive gives permission to other workers under him to carry out some functions that he himself is authorized to undertake. One reason for delegating authority is that the executive has not gotten enough time to do all the managerial work by himself. As soon as authority is delegated, the functions of control become very significant to the delegator. He has to make sure that the part of his own authority he is extending to others will be used in the way he expects it to be. The process of delegation establishes specific relationship among executives and subordinates at various levels. These relationships should be carefully distinguished or delineated. Delegation of authority and responsibility is often accomplished by written directives or by the publication of organizational manuals. There are 3 steps in delegation. These are assignment of specific duties by executives to subordinates, granting of necessary authority, and fixing of responsibility upon each subordinate for satisfactory performance of the assigned duty. Apart from authorities that are properly delegated, some people will assume authority and exercise it until they are told to stop by higher authority. For example, if the class chairman is weak or found wanting, another student may assume his authorities by taking over the responsibility that goes with the function of a chairman. The acceptance theory of authority. This theory states that a superior has only as much authority as the subordinates are willing for him to have. Policy. According to Hart, policy is a guideline that is developed to permit orderly and consistent action in the pursuit of specific goals. Before any organization or business goes into operation, the first thing to do is always to define its objectives or goals. Such objectives or goals may include income generation, which leads to survival and finally to profits. Once these objectives have been laid down, guidelines are then set to enable consistent and orderly achievement of these goals. Some policies may be quite broad, while some may be quite specific. Top management is responsible for selecting policies. Some policies pertain to a particular division or department of the company. For example, credit policy, production policy, and personnel policy. Apart from being deliberately determined by managers, policies sometimes evolve out of custom within the firms. Sometimes they may be imposed on the firm by external forces, such as labor unions, government agencies, or action of competitors. Policies should be stated in clear and simple language for clarity. Managers should review policies from time to time so that they can change policies according to circumstances. Policies need not to be rigid. They should be flexible, though not too flexible or unclear, because the guidelines may become too obscure to be useful. Advantages of policy. This includes the following. 1. Policies are tools of management. 2. Policies facilitate the conduct of business. 3. Policies are predetermined answers to a recurring question. 4. Policies provide for like treatment in similar situations. Lines of authority. Lines of authority must be distinguishable or clear at all levels. That is, there should be no overlapping of authority and confusion of responsibility. All authority is delegated progressively downwards from the top. However, sufficient authority must remain at the top to ensure an effective control of the whole organization. The span of control. The span of control, that is the number of persons reporting to a single executive or supervisor, should be related to the nature of the operations to be managed. In relatively simple types of operation, it is possible to supervise 20 to 30 persons or more. However, in complex operation, the number of people that can be effectively supervised decreases. Management qualities. Today, managers are expected to work as team leaders with a diversity of team members. They must possess the following management skills: technical, human and communication, and conceptual and decision making. Technical skills. These are the abilities to use methods and techniques to perform a task when managers are working on budgets. They may need computer skills in spreadsheet software such as Lotus 123 or Excel. Human and communication skills. These are the ability to work with people in teams. Without the ability to communicate effectively, you cannot manage teams profitably. Today, employees want to be involved in management. They want information. Other skills could include political skills. How well you get along with employees will affect your management success. You do not have to like people, although it does help to have a good working relationship. Conceptual and decision-making skills. These are the ability to understand abstract ideas and select alternatives to solve problems. Another term for conceptual skills is systematic thinking, or the ability to understand an organization or department as a whole and the interrelationship among its parts. Differences among managers. Differences occurs in three levels of management: types of managers, management skills, and profits versus not-for-profit managers. The three levels of management and operative employees. The three levels of management include top, middle, and first line. They are also called strategic, tactical, and operational. Top managers. These are executive positions. They have titles such as chairman of the board, chief executive officer, president or vice president. In some organizations, there are very few top managerial positions. Top managers are responsible for managing the entire organization or major parts of it. They define the organization's purpose, objectives, strategies, and long-term plans. They report to other executives or board of directors and supervise the activities of middle managers. Middle managers. These people have titles such as sales manager, branch managers, or departmental heads. The major function is to implement top management strategies by developing short-term operational plans. They report to executives and supervise the work of first-line managers. First-line managers. Here, examples of these titles at the level include crew leaders, supervisor, head nurse, and office manager. These managers are responsible for implementing middle manager operational plans. They generally report to middle managers, unlike those at the other two levels of management. First-line managers do not supervise other managers. They supervise operative employees. Types of managers. The three types of managers include general, functional, and project. Top level and middle level managers are general managers because they supervise the activities of several departments that perform several activities. Middle and first line managers are often functional managers that supervise the activities of relative tasks. The four most common functional areas include operation production, marketing, finance or accounting, and human resources or personnel management. A production manager is responsible for making products such as a television. An operational manager is responsible for providing a service such as accommodation in a hotel. However, both product and service organization now use the broader term operations. A marketing manager is responsible for selling and advertising products and services. The accounting manager is responsible for keeping records of sales and expenses, accounts receivable and payable, and determining profitability. Whereas the financial manager is responsible for obtaining the necessary funds and investments. The term finance is commonly used to mean both accounting and financial activities. The human resources replaces the old term personnel manager. The human resources manager replaces the old term personnel manager, which is responsible for forecasting future employee needs and recruiting, selecting, and evaluating and compensating employees. This manager also ensures that employees follow guidelines and legal guidelines and regulations. Management skill. All managers need technical, human, and communication and conceptual and decision-making skills. The need, however, varies with the level of management. The need for human and communication skills remains constant across the levels. Top-level managers have a greater need for conceptual and decision-making skills. First-line managers have a greater need for technical skills. Profits versus non-for-profit manager. Is the manager's job the same in the profit and not-for-profit organization? Profit versus not-for-profit managers. Is the manager's job the same in the profit and not-for-profit organizations? Although some noteworthy differences exist, the answer is yes. Differences exist in measuring performance and staffing. The primary measurement of performance for profit organizations is the bottom line profits. Not-for-profit organizations have no universal measures of performance. In not-for-profit organizations, some of the workers are volunteers. Therefore, the following exercises will help you to understand what management is, why we must learn about management, what are the functions of management, do all managers perform all the functions, what are the 3 types of management, and in summary and conclusion. The chapter discusses management in general. Management as an activity was defined, and functions and the various levels of managers were explained. Self-reflection. How has this chapter helped you to understand management, its functions, and the various levels? Assignment. Identify the various levels of management in your university. What are the roles attached to those levels? Thank you.